Well, howdy, folks. I mean, apologies for that appalling start to this video, but it's a bit of a clue as to where we are this year, because the stadium you can see behind me is the brand new home of St. Louis City FC. So, yes, we are heading to America. It's time to conquer the MLS, and it is a very strange league with lots of odd rules that I'm going to have to get used to. So, yeah, it's going to be a really, really very different experience in America. But then what would you expect?
O'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Okay, that fine and somewhat pensive figure of a man you see behind me is George King III. He will be the man leading us to glory in Major League Soccer. And those of you who know your history will see what I've done with the name there. Very clever, I think you'll agree. But, yeah. I will confess, I did record a load of stuff, and then when I went to edit it, it all looked a bit rubbish. So, I am re-recording, but the good thing is, because I'm re-recording, you get a little bit of the story that's happened since I actually started managing this team. And it's been a wild one. This is our squad as it stands at the moment. Roman Berkey is the only name in it that I have actually heard of. He's a Swiss international, not that many caps, but he's an international. So we should have a solid goalkeeper. Now, there used to be other players in this list. Several of them are now in my B team, which I will now filter out the trialists from. Now, there are a number of people here who I have fallen out with already. You'll be surprised to learn with my good-natured, easygoing manner that you see all the time. 6. Actually, no, I tell a lie. 5 now. One of the ringleaders we've dealt with. Now, first up was Joshua Yarrow, who I can't even remember what he came to me complaining about, to be honest. Actually, I think maybe I can. He might have been one of the ones involved in the training camp incident. And I'm blaming my assistant manager entirely for this, because we had a training camp set up, and honestly, I don't like them. I know clubs do them and everything, but if I can possibly avoid doing one, I will. I want to do the friendlies I want to do. I don't want to be restricted by who I can pick because I've got a squad that I've had to take to this training camp. I just don't like them, full stop. But this one was already set up. There's nothing I can do about it. It was like, oh, I can't be bothered to pick this squad. So I just asked my assistant to do it. That was my first mistake. He, in his wisdom, decided that of the roughly 30-man first team squad that we had, only about 15 of them were going to be allowed to go. And he put a load of trialists in the squad. Then, not surprisingly, about 5 players came to me saying, "Why aren't I in the squad for this camp?" I was like, well, basically I apologised to all of them. Unfortunately, I think Yarrow here wasn't having my apology, unacceptable to him. So I got annoyed with him and ended up granting a transfer request for him, having fallen out. So that was him. Now, Thomas Ostrak was the catalyst for incident number 2. And I'd already looked at my squad, and we can only have 5 international players, I think. You can trade for more slots. It's one of the weird vagaries of the American system. You can trade with other teams for their international slots for various periods of time. It's all sorts of things you can put in deals. But yeah, I had decided that he was one that, whilst he's quite good, we already had players in the positions I was looking at him playing in, and he just wasn't going to get enough first team football to justify him being around and taking up one of those international slots. So, having decided that, I then get a message from my assistant again. You see, he's one of the common factors here. I'm beginning to see now. Yeah, I get a message saying, oh, we should probably mark him as surplus to requirements because he's not good enough to get the football. And I was like, yeah, okay then. Of course, Thomas got annoyed about that. So I basically laid it out that, well, you're not in my plans. And he threw his toys out the pram. So he got transfer listed. And then I get a delegation. Kyle Hebert, Isaac Jensen, Selmir Pedro, and João Klaus, I believe his name is, all come to me saying, we don't like the way you've treated Thomas Ostrak. I wasn't in the best frame of mind, having just dealt with Thomas. So I told them where to get off. None of them liked it. Transfer listed the lot of them. And then, weirdly, I then get a delegation shortly after that about my treatment of João Klaus. And it's basically the same three that came with him and Thomas Ostrak. So effectively, what I've managed to do is isolate a little clique, all of them foreigners. I mean, Kyle Hebert's a Canadian, but no, still foreign technically. Ostrak, Jensen, Pedro, and Klaus was Portuguese, possibly. I can't quite remember, but he was foreign. And yeah, this little clique obviously all get together and protect each other. Basically, all of them will be out of this club by the time I'm done. The end of this transfer window, I want them gone. They are clearly disruptive. It's a shame because Isaac Jensen has got a lot of potential. I would like to have kept him. Most of the others, I mean, Pedro I'd identified as someone who could probably go. Hebert could go. João Klaus I wanted as my starting forward. Hadn't seen anything useful from him on the pitch by this point, so it made the decision easier. And he we have sent off, and because it's America, and you can't be an American sport without having a draft, we have got... now, it's in the transfer section. I'm still learning my way around. Yeah, so you get 3 picks per year. And as you can see, Real Salt Lake have given us their first and second round picks this year and a first and third round pick next year. Plus, they gave us like £1 million of some fund of money that I can't quite remember what it's used for. So, yeah, I think we got a decent deal with him, and we got a troublemaker off the books. So, I mean, he'll probably come back and score a hat-trick against me, but, you know, that's football. But the other interesting thing was, I think if we go to the dynamics section, see, there are currently no player issues within the team. That's because I've shoved them all in the B team. So presumably, they're my B team manager's problem now. But, as you can see, my managerial support is good, because it turns out, when they came complaining, a load of the rest of the squad were very happy with the way I'd dealt with Ostrak and Klaus. So maybe it was that they were just a little group on their own and nobody else really got on with them. So this whole incident has actually kind of helped the club get them out of the way, and now we can focus on getting people in who are going to fit in and be part of the squad in a useful fashion. I have decided on a tactic, although I am in the process of adjusting it. I've decided to go sweeper keeper on defend, and I'm not sure about the register. I don't know as we want the register in there. I've never really used the register particularly, and we just don't really have anyone who's that good at it. I mean, Lowen is decent at it, there's no denying that, but I think he'd also be very good as a deep line playmaker. Yeah, case in point. It's his best position there. So I might choose deep lying playmaker there. And yeah, what the other thing that the incidents have given me is that Klaus was using up one of our. You get designated players apparently, who are people you can pay more, and they don't cost so much. They don't cost all their wages towards your salary cap, because again, it's American sport, so there's a salary cap. So you get these designated players, and they're the likes of Messi, for example, is a designated player for Inter Miami. They're clearly not paying him within the salary that they would be allowed. I would imagine Messi would command that entire salary cap on his own. But so you can get these players. So the thing you need to do with them is make them the best players that you've got. There's no point wasting one on sort of some average squad player. So one of ours at the moment, I believe, is Berkey. Yeah, you can see here, he's happy with my treatment of Ostrak. So's Tim Parker. So's Lowen, I presume. Stroud. Yeah, and so, I mean, Parker, Berkey and Lowen, 3 of my best players, all are with me on this whole fight I've had with these other players. So it's really actually helped very quickly get the trust of the rest of the squad. So whilst it was very annoying at the time, because I was just getting problem after problem cropping up, it's actually possibly been very helpful. But anyway, yeah, so these designated players. So what we're going to try and do is I'm trying to pad out the squad with as much American talent, and I know that's quite an oxymoron in footballing terms, but as I can, because I don't need those international slots filled up. We already have a reasonable number. I mean, Berkey, as you can see there, Lowen, Blom is decent. Alm, who was a threat to possibly have to be cut, but now can stay because the rest of them are going. So yeah, we've trimmed a load of international troublemakers, and we're going to get a decent amount of Americans in, hopefully, and then that one designated player slot that I think I've got left. I might have 2 actually. I might have a youngster one left, but that's less useful unless I can find a really gifted youngster somewhere. We'll have a look. But yeah, they are going to be going up front, because Gioacchini is okay, but he doesn't really fit what I want him to do brilliantly. And I think if we can find someone who's going to be a really good deep line forward, then that will be the way we will go. But yeah, that's basically what's been happening. I have been here for about 3 weeks or so. I mean, performance-wise on the pitch, it's not been very good. We lost to our own second team first time up. DC United and Orlando City beat us. We did basically nothing. As you can see there, João Klaus with a fantastic 6.1. You can see why I wasn't sorry to see him go, can't you? We then did actually beat our B team 1-0. Poor old Giacchini missed a penalty, so got absolutely hammered on the rating. But he wasn't that bad. And then our last game out against New York City FC, whose reserve side apparently we are due to play in 10 days' time. Yeah, 1-1 draw, Alm with a goal. So, but unfortunately, these 4 games here were all in that training camp. So basically, you won't see much in the way of substitutes, because I didn't really have anyone available by the time all the trialists that he'd put in the squad had decided they were leaving because it was the end of their trial. And yeah, I had virtually no one in. So some of our squad are almost dead. I mean, John Nelson managed to get injured. He was on his last legs in that last match, and I'm not surprised he's injured. Lowen, as you can see, Alm, Gioacchini, because they were just forced to play, basically, because we didn't have anyone else. These next few games won't be under those circumstances. I will be able to keep people fresher and hopefully get them more used to the tactic. And to be honest, I haven't been picking the side, because the whole camp thing was like, well, this is your mess, assistant. You can pick the side and deal with it. And with friendlies, I didn't really care that much. But I will now start picking my team and trying to get them to play the way I want them to play, and get that team cohesion up, because that's our one sort of weakness on the dynamics front at the moment. But yeah, that is what has been happening in the first 3 weeks of my tenure, and if it continues at this rate, I'm going to be very grey by probably about halfway through this season. But hopefully the pressure is off us a reasonable amount. We are not expected to do all that brilliantly. So, I mean, fortunately they haven't programmed in the expectations that there might be on the actual team, who in their very first season, and the league is split into Eastern Conference and Western Conference, and then they play off and all that sort of stuff after that. St. Louis City actually won the Western Conference. I don't know if things have gone so well for them in the playoffs. I saw their first playoff result was a 4-1 defeat. So I don't know if they've managed to claw that back and turn it around, or if they've just crashed out at the first hurdle. But they have had a modicum of success, shall we say, in real life. So in that respect, the pressure is on a little. But within the game world, it's not really, we're not expected to do much. So it will be nice if we do actually manage to succeed and do quite well. Anyway, that is where we're at, having crossed the pond. And yeah, next time it will be first competitive game, and we'll see what I've managed to do to try and bolster this squad, if anything at all. And hopefully those troublemakers, those troublemaking foreigners will be gone. Trump will be proud.